Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Precious Metals and Batteries Summit here, 2018 in Zurich, day 2. And we are now in the late afternoon. And with me here is Orsu Metals, Dr. Alexander Yakubchuk. And he's the director of exploration. And yeah, we want to get an insight into this lovely exploration company. Welcome, Alexander.
Okay, thank you for inviting us.
Yeah, great to have you here. And honestly, you are my first Russian company here during the summit.
Hope
Perfect.
not the last one.
No, definitely not. So maybe you can give us a short overview. Where is Orsu based? You are doing exploration. You're in Russia.
Okay, we are currently in Russia, but we started only 2 years ago in Russia. Before that, we were in Central Asia mostly for 20 years. The company has a history of being a public company since 1994. But in 2016, we decided to basically switch from Central Asia to Russia, going out of copper and gold into gold only. And we had an interesting offer to visit a project in Siberia, which I did in July 2016. I visited it, I liked it. It's a brown field. It's was most interesting stuff that was 300 meters from the western wall of the currently suspended open pit, but previously working, and it has a big resource of plus 4 million ounces, maybe 6 million ounces, of which 1.3 was extracted historically, but it is currently suspended. And I felt that some ore bodies do extend into the ground, which was offered to us, and we felt that it's an interesting combination, and we started exploration. And just during essentially 27, 28 months since the visit, we already are almost having a resource. We completed all the drilling last month. We are waiting for about 15% of assays, 85 we already have, so we are comfortable in terms of we will be able to achieve what we want.
Perfect, perfect. So what's the name of the project? Because my Russian is a bit rusty, to be honest.
The name of the project is, of course, Russian. It's called Sergeyevska, which is after the male name Sergey. And we have 3 Sergeys in the company. And the company local company which holds the project is called Alexanderskaya. I am Alexander. We have 2 Alexanders, so we have some good combination of Alexanders and Sergeys, and all the stars are in good constellation.
Yeah, so that's really real dedication to the company and to the project, I would call it.
Yes, we have some personal dedication, personal affiliation, and we believe that this is the right approach.
Fantastic. So maybe you can elaborate a bit more what the drills so far turned out, what some drill results, what is strike lengths and stuff like that.
The interesting thing was that what we saw based on the historical results that there were at surface maybe 4 or 5 ore bodies, so better to say legally correctly mineralized zones, and we started drilling them. At surface they were quite narrow, about 1 to 2 meters, but when we drilled underneath, just 30 to 40 meters below surface, we started receiving intercepts of about 25 meters at 3.4 grams. And we first were not sure how they actually come together, but after doing drilling, this is what we were doing this year, consistently along the 80 meters apart fences, we completed 82 holes.
That's a lot.
We know quite well that there is a high-grade consistent, so it's plus 2 gram materials available. On average, the system runs about 1.85 gram gold. And
but it will be open-pittable then, right?
It's definitely open-pittable. It comes to the surface, and in most recent results, which we already announced, we saw that we have silver grade as well in the system, and some of it is very rich. We have like 17 meters of 5 ounces silver in it. And
in addition to the gold?
In addition to the gold. It's not gold equivalent, it's not funny stuff, it's just like gold and silver. Within it, we even have 2.7 meters running 1 kilogram of silver, which is exceptional. We've never seen before in our previous assays, which we have to investigate. But fortunately, we assayed consistently all the samples, not only for gold and silver. And I can say that, of course, the ratio is variable, but 1 to 1 to 1 to 4 ratio for gold to silver is available in the system. Sometimes we have half an ounce, and sometimes we have 5 ounces. So it can be some beneficial
nice
stuff.
byproduct, I would say.
Nice byproduct, and right byproduct. It's not harmful, it's all right.
Exactly. And silver is really needed for the future a lot with the solar industry, for example. So it's fantastic, I would say. It brings extra money.
Of course.
In the future.
Of course. and it actually, when you process it and when you mine it, so it actually helps with the cost of producing it. So it's good.
Exactly. Can you give us also an idea, please? Because now we see, mineralization looks really favorable. You drilled a lot so far. You will drill some more, of course. We wait for the maiden resource. really look forward to that, of course. But what does, let's say, the surrounding look like, meaning the infrastructure? Because sometimes when we think about Russia, it's a huge landmass.
And then you are lost.
Yeah, exactly. And when we think about Siberia, and there is no road and nothing, and so what does it look like?
Okay, I was born in Siberia, not in the area where the project is, but relatively close, just 1,000 kilometers away, which is by Siberian standards is nothing. But you can go half of Europe
that's right, yeah.
with this distance. But the project is actually very, very nicely located. I was so much surprised about its location because it's in between Siberia and Russian Far East, and until 8 years ago there was no paved road between Siberia and Russian Far East. But now the government builds a paved road, so if, for example, I travel from London, I used two planes, flying to Moscow first and then to a local regional center called Chita, and then 550 kilometers by road, which takes about 5 hours, 6 hours to drive. So essentially, if I start from London, 24 hours and I'm on the site.
Wow.
And the site itself is just 35 kilometers from the famous Trans-Siberian Railway, which is in operation for 100 years or so. And there is no limitation in terms of using water. There are two small settlements of 2,000 to 2,500 people nearby, so which were involved in the mining, and some involved in the mining on the western side of our license.
That would be for your workforce.
So there is experienced workforce, which of course we don't have to teach a little bit for every operation, but they already know what they're doing. It will be not new to them, and it will be not unfriendly to them. So it's how they live. So it's very good. And we are at exploration stage going into resource, but everybody would think that it's so far in Siberia. But not only we are close to railway and motorway, but I use mobile phones to communicate with the geologists near the rig if necessary, and I receive daily updates via internet what's happening.
Wow,
so it's just very, very...
Yeah, so everything in perfect shape.
Everything is in perfect shape.
Super, super. I think you have also some prominent neighbors, haven't you?
We have some prominent neighbors both to the east and to the west. To the east, which is, I already mentioned, 300 meters from us, there is a deposit called Kluchevskaya, which was an operation since the early 20th century. Originally, it was a British concession, but then after the revolution, it became a Russian operation, and they had mining during about 70 years or so until they suspended operation, and it was a relatively lazy operation. They were processing about 1.5, maybe 2 million tons of ore per annum, extracting about 1 to 2 tons of gold per annum. At the peak, it was at about 3 tons of gold, which is a rough equivalent of 90,000 ounces per annum. So it was not up to the scale of the deposit, but it was just long-term operation enough for them. And it changed. They suspended all production in 2002 because of the plunge of gold prices. As everybody remembers, gold went down from 390 to about 270, and they had to stop it. And then the mine changed hands several times. And the current owners, it's an Indian company, its subsidiary is called Sun Gold. They didn't resume mining, but they did drilling. They identified the down deep continuation of the resource, which I mentioned earlier, which is plus 4 million ounces, which is substantial. But life is difficult for everyone, not only for us as juniors, but also for companies which have funds. But they managed to attract attention of the Chinese National Gold Corporation, which is a government company, one of top 5, I think, gold producers in China. And they had a deal with them, so they basically going into the receive all the approvals to acquire 70% in the project. And if you read the media, you will see that the investment which they promise to bring into the project is about $500 million, which is significant.
So you would benefit from that too, right? Because the whole region would be even much better than, or let's say, higher valued.
Yes, and interesting what they're going to do, that instead of having resuming a 1 million, 2 million ton per annum operation, they want to, according to the media reports, they want to make it 12 million ton per annum operation, producing 200 to 300,000 ounces of gold per annum, which will be a big thing for the area.
Absolutely.
And we being on the western flank. Of course, we can be friends, so we can do our own things. So it depends on the commercial terms, of course. But based on the drilling which we did, we are comfortable to say that this project which we have can be a standalone operation on its own. So without being dependent on what happens on the ground nearby. So which is a good position.
Absolutely. And I saw in your presentation you are thinking about maybe doing some pilot mining next year already.
Because we are a junior company, we have about $2 million in the bank. We don't have debt. We have this $2 million, which will be enough for us to survive a certain period of time, to do certain tests, to obtain necessary permits, approvals from the government, and we understand that this cash is not forever. So which means that we have to find alternative sources of it. One of the sources would be to do pilot mining. Pilot mining you cannot do just on your own if you decide to do it. You need an approval from the government. And in order to have an approval from the government, you have to submit the results of your exploration program to the government with approval of resource, because the government wants to know how much royalty it's going to collect, which is a fair thing. Every government
fair
wants.
enough.
So this is just like in internationally normal practice. And we hope that we think that it's a solution for us. We will not have to go to the market to raise additional funds through dilution or issuing of new shares. And our existing shareholders will be satisfied. The free float of the company is about 43%. 7% is owned by Goldfields. And the rest is people who are involved in...
like me.
Partly you. And management. Management controls about 35% of
that's a lot.
So that's a lot. So which means that management is interested not only in receiving salary, but also in achieving the target.
Of course.
And we believe with what we did so far that we will be able to do it. So if it's as successful with approvals, with the resources, with the Russian government, which we don't have a reason why not. We already showed to a contractor this. We already signed an agreement with a Russian contractor who is doing such things. We'll submit it approximately March, April next year. By May time, plus minus, we'll have an approval from the State Committee on Reserves. After that, we will immediately apply for the pilot mining permit, which will take additional 2 months. So roughly speaking, July, August next year, we are planning, if everything goes according to the plan, to have this. This will be not a huge operation. This will be 200,000, maybe 300,000 tons per annum. But for us, as for a junior company, it will provide independence in terms of that we will not be dependent on fluctuations of the markets, international politics, or whatever is involved in it.
Fantastic, Alexander. Thank you very much. It was a fantastic overview. We keep fingers crossed for your, first of all, for your resource estimate, and then for the pilot mining. And we will talk quite soon, I would say.
I can say that it's very interesting to be for the first time in Switzerland, to talk and actually to share opinions.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, there was Dr. Alexander Yakubchuk, and you heard it. Orsu Metals is really on the run here and really working very hard to get this resource estimate out, and also, to really file for pilot mining for the permitting, and then to really start hopefully in the second half of next year and getting some money into the treasury and make the company more independent from the markets. I think it's a great idea. Check out the company. Thanks for watching us. Bye-bye from Zurich.
Thank you.